All right, everybody. Workout 3 Fundamentals of Fitness at Deadlift Strength and Wellness. And I'm Dr. Kyle Utley with you today. We have already started the clock, so let's get right to it. We're working on our hinge and pull patterns today. So we've already done the squat, the press, the lunge, and the carry. We have 2 more patterns to work on, the fundamentals. As always, we're going to warm up accordingly, and then we'll get to the workout shortly after. So we're going to start with one of the most important components of a pull, which is some scapular mechanics. And we're going to do that by working on a bear position or a quadruped serratus press. So activating one of the most important stabilizing muscles of the shoulder blade is going to help us to have great shoulder mechanics when we do pulling patterns, which is coming up hard in the warm-up. So we're going to get into our bear position. We did this just in the past workout with some crawling. You're going to put your hands underneath your shoulders, and you're going to make sure you screw your hands into the floor underneath you. So I mean getting your elbow crease in line with your thumb, okay? So really get those shoulders screwed into place. Tuck the toes underneath, and then I'm going to come up off my knees just for a little bit of a challenge here to get warmed up, but you can just stay on your knees if you'd like. And now what we're going to do is sink through the shoulders, so I'm letting my chest sort of fall to the floor, keeping my elbows straight. And then I'm going to press my chest up and through without rounding my back. And I'm going to keep repeating that pattern. So my knees are basically going to come to the mat, and then I'm pressing up and through. It's really important with the serratus press that you don't round your back to get through your shoulders, okay? It's a very subtle movement here. We're squeezing between the shoulder blades, pressing through, and we're going to do 8 reps here. Nice, slow, and controlled. Try and get as much press through as you can with keeping your spine nice and straight. All right, got my 8 reps in. And now we're going to do nice mobilization for the front of the hip. We're going to be doing a lot of posterior chain work. In order to get that all the backside working, we need to open up the front of the hip. It's a big limiter of any pulling pattern. So I'm going to start with my left leg stretching. So I'm going to bring my right leg out to 45 degrees. So this is straight in front, 45 degrees out front. First thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to tuck my tail under, okay? So instead of pushing my hips forward, I'd rather just tuck that tail, or imagine somebody's got 2 hands on your pelvis and they're pulling your pelvis up towards your belly button, okay? Immediately you should feel more of a stretch on the inside of the hip. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach my right arm out, and I'm going to screw in a light bulb with that hand. Keep it there. The left hand's going to go out. I'm going to screw in a light bulb there, and then raise that up overhead, and you should feel a big increase in the stretch in the front of your hip, this region here. Okay, keeping those glutes clenched and those hips pushed forward, that tail tucked. And we're going to hold this for 1 minute on each side. Really keeping some full body tension, pressing into that hip flexor. And always breathing. Another 15 seconds here. Very, very important to loosen this area before any hinging, pulling, deadlifting style workout. Okay, come slowly out of that stretch, and we're going to hit the right side. So again, right knee down, left leg out at 45 degrees. I'm going to tuck my tail. So take those hips, tuck the tail under. You should feel that stretch increase here. Left arm's going to come out, screw in a light bulb. Right arm comes out, screw in a light bulb, and then raise that up overhead. Big stretch in the front of the hip. We're just going to hold here for 1 minute. Breathing in and out. Remember the warm-up, what we're trying to do, our design in the warm-up is to address key areas of limitation for the work you're about to do. Okay, so it is important to warm up the body, get the heart pumping, but your workout's going to do that for you. Okay, what's more important in your warm-up is to take some time to address things that might get in your way. Because if you have a tight hip flexor, and that means your deadlift requires a little bit of extra mobility from your low back, you're going to compromise, and your deadlift will be less effective and could potentially cause injury, okay? Now we're going to go down to the floor, and we're going to do our last exercise, which is an alternating glute bridge. So we're going to be on our back, and as always, very important, tuck your tail. So arch back here, I'm nice and relaxed, tuck my tail underneath. I'm going to keep that nice core contraction And then I'm going to bridge with my left leg, lower, keeping my back nice and flat, switch and repeat. Bridge up to the top, active top leg. I'm squeezing this up towards my chest, lower in control, switch and repeat. Good. And I'm going to do 8 reps each side, 16 reps total here. Really warming up that glute. It's an area where oftentimes we're going to start to lose control if we really depend on low back mechanics in our pulling patterns. Always driving that knee up, that active knee, active top foot. And now we're getting the blood flowing. So really in a warm-up, it doesn't have to be one or the other. You can have both, working on areas of limitation and addressing those key areas of limitation at the same time. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the start and do 2 more rounds. So, going to get onto my all fours. Got a little bit ahead of myself there. My serratus press. I'm going to pick up my toes so I have a little bit more weight, and then I'm just going to down through the shoulders, keeping that neutral spine and pressing through. Nice, slow and controlled. Good press through, and you can see I don't round my back. My spine stays in the same position throughout. It's just a subtle movement between here where I'm nice and relaxed, and then we activate that serratus anterior muscle. You want to make sure you also don't shrug your shoulders forward, okay? Keep your shoulder blades down and back. Really, it doesn't have to be a huge amount of movement. You just want to feel that activation. One more here. Awesome. And now I'm going to swing around, and I'm going to stretch out that hip flexor with some ELDOA. It's a fascial stretching technique, so tuck the tail, push the hips forward. Going to screw in a light bulb with my left hand. Right hand, left hand, raise up, hold here. And breathe. Remember, you're going to hear me say this probably every single workout, okay? Breathing is what allows you to master a position. So if you want to feel comfortable with this stretch, you need to be able to breathe in it. Your body needs that reassurance that this is a safe position, okay? So always conscious about our breath, especially in a warm-up where we want to be low threshold. We're trying to keep the level of neurological excitement low and just start to prime the system a little bit. Okay, slowly come out of a stretch. You never want to rush that, especially if you've been doing it properly. And we'll go to the right side, so 45 degrees here. Tuck the tail, push the hips forward, screw in a light bulb with the left hand, lock that in, right hand up overhead. Boom, we've got a little more tension. And breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, and always bringing all of your air down into your belly. Feel your belly expand. Keeping that tail tucked nice and active. It's a really good way to get active stretching, active mobility. It's not just a passive routine. Okay, we're going to come out of that. 1 minute on those sides. Hit the glute bridges. I'm going to tuck my tail, get that set. That's going to stay set the whole time. And now I bridge. Again, always active through that top leg. You can see I drive this leg towards the ceiling. Always getting active. Keeping that tail tucked, keeping those ribs down, the abs crunched. And always take your warm-ups just slow and controlled. There's no need to rush. You've got lots of time. It's programmed into your 45-minute workout, and that's important to set that time aside to get quality mobility and active preparation work in. One more on each side here. 8 each side, 16 total. Awesome. And now I'm going to spin around. I'm going to hit my bear serratus press, tuck the toes, hands under shoulders, screw in the hands, bring the knees up, down through the shoulder blades, up and through, really focusing on keeping that nice active neutral spine. This is a pressing pattern in our pulling workout, which seems a little contradictory, but we're trying to really activate those excellent scapular mechanics because a pull really, really requires that. And we're going to be doing quite a bit of pulls today. That's a big fundamental we're working on. Back around to our hip flexor stretch. Tuck the tail. Okay, so what I mean by that is I'm not pushing my hips forward and arching back. Take your pelvis, tuck it under, tuck the tail, then you can push your hips forward. Feel the stretch here. Lock in that right arm, lock in the left arm, bring that up overhead. Extra little bit of stretch. 1 minute hold here. Almost there. I'm going to come out of the stretch nice and slow. Switch my sides. Tuck my tail, push forward. I want to take the same amount of care and put it into every rep, the same amount of diligence, preparation. Consistency is the key with anything, but if you talk about fitness, consistency and sustainability, it's the same thing. You have to be able to show your body that a routine that it can follow and stick to. If you want to consistently train, you've got to consistently prepare. It starts here. Your workout's just like almost a reward, really, for taking the time to prepare properly. Almost there. We're going to finish with some alternating glute bridges, and then we're going right into our workout. We're going to be doing 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off, as we have been throughout this first week of our training program. Come out of that slow, down onto the back. And we're going to be going 5 moves, 5 rounds, 1 minute rest between rounds. Again, glute bridges. Really important here to focus on form and technique, keeping those hips down, the tail tucked, active top leg. Okay, done our warm up. We got 30 seconds and we're working out. So we're going to be doing a bent over row variation to start. And we're going to start with a body weight variation. No dumbbells. A set of dumbbells is definitely going to be helpful for you in this workout, but it's not necessary. Okay, the body weight version is really meant to work on scapular mechanics. So Here we go. We're right about to get started with the bent over row. Feet about shoulder width apart. We're going to hinge at the hips. So we're in a flat back position. Okay. And here I want you to imagine you got dumbbells in your hands, really grasp tightly. And then you're pulling the elbows up to the sides, trying like you're going to put your hands in your back pockets, lower and control, full body tension this entire round. We're just visualizing that movement pattern. And I really want you to focus here on pulling your shoulder blades around your rib cage, cracking up between the shoulder blades at the top, lower and control, and keeping that nice neutral spine. Going to add weight as we go. Also, we're working a hinge position here. Break time. Now we're going to go into a hip hinge variation. We're going to also go body weight here. So as always, round one is like an extension of our warm-up, right? We're just trying to groove the movement patterns and get ready to do some real work as we get further into the rounds. So hip hinge, okay? We're going to keep the knees nice and straight with just a little bit of a bend, soft bend. I want you to imagine you're shutting a car door with your bum. Your hips come back, tabletop position, and then up and through the hips, okay? You can put your hands out for some counterbalance. And I really want you to feel those hips coming back. Shut that car door with the bum, up and through. Hands out for counterbalance. Woo! Really working on that movement pattern. Feet are just a little wider than shoulder width apart. You want to feel that nice stretch in the posterior chain. We're activating all that backside stuff. Keeping that back nice and flat. Nice neutral spine as always. One more rep. Okay. Now we're going to pick up our dumbbell. This one is not going to have a ton of variations. Okay. But we're going to do an alternating hang clean. Okay. So a clean is where we take the dumbbell from here to here. Okay, so it's got two parts and we're going to work on those separately. So first part here is a high pull. Okay, so we're just going to be pulling. I'm using the right arm, but if you can go with your left arm on this round, I'm going to switch this up. I'm just pulling that dumbbell from hang position up to chest level, no higher. We never need to have this elbow go above the shoulder. Just a simple row, keeping the core nice and locked in, pulling that dumbbell to chest height and lower. And then we're going to do the opposite side. Time there. Lower that dumbbell. Oh, we were alternating. Next round, we'll go alternating. Okay, I'm going to do my deadlift pattern. This is the fourth exercise. You want a little bit of weight here, but I'm going to start with showing you just the body weight version. So it's a hip hinge at the hips, down into the knees. I'm just going to grasp that kettlebell, feel what that's like, stand up and through the hips, okay? Down through the hips, then through the knees, feel that kettlebell, stand up body weight, okay? We're just grooving the pattern. Start in the hips, down through the knees, chest stays upright the whole time. I want you to be able to read, if I wrote a name across my chest, I would want you to be able to read that throughout my movement pattern. Pushing through the whole foot, hinge, down, see my chest, chin up, and stand. Okay, now we're going to go with an alternating floor clean, but we're just going to switch this up. So we're going right arm this round, left arm next round, and then we'll get back to alternating after that, okay? So the right arm is going to do a clean from the floor. So we're going to do the same thing where we're doing a high pull, but from the floor. Deadlift pattern, pull, high pull, lower to the floor, okay? Hinge, pull. So now we're putting the last two movements, the deadlift and the hang clean, which we did a pull to start, into one movement pattern. We'll do right side, then we'll do left side, and then we're going to get into alternating cleans in rounds 3, 4, and 5. Almost done here. Right arm. Just grooving those movement patterns. Elbow does not need to come above the shoulder level. Lower and control. 1 minute rest. Good. Nice warm-up routine there, getting the movement primed and ready to go. Now we take everything into another variation, another level, and continue from there. Okay, we're gonna go with a 2 hands on 1 dumbbell row. Okay, so pick a light dumbbell, and now we're just gonna keep adding a little bit of weight. It'll go 2 hands on 1 dumbbell, 2 hands on their own dumbbells, and then we'll add some load in rounds 4 and 5. Okay, and then we'll go through some variations for all the other movements as well. Get a little bit more active, a little bit more metabolic. Really start to push this thing. 10 seconds here. I'm going to go with a 25-pound dumbbell here for my rows. I'm going to hinge down, always active when addressing any weight. And now that bent over row, I'm going to get down into that hip hinge position, flat back tabletop. I'm going to pull this into my chest. Elbows come back nice and tight to the sides, lower and control. Okay, this should be a light dumbbell. Shouldn't be hard to get that lift in. We're going to challenge this with some heavy load as we go throughout the workout. We're just starting slow and easing our way in. We want to peak in rounds 4 and 5 so that we can max those out with as much effort as we put into round 1. Always breathing, lower and control. Nice deadlift to the floor, always active. Now we're going to go with our hip hinge variation. Okay, I'm going to pick that same dumbbell up, and I'm going to hold that at my chest level now. Okay, so we're going to be doing a little bit of like a front-loaded good morning hip hinge variation here. Nice and light, so I'm going to pick that up, chest level, so that top position, and I'm going to hinge forward, locking in that core, and raise. Okay, so it's a front-loaded good morning hip hinge and raise. Okay, so now we're changing that center of mass. Your body wants to fight that weight from falling forward. This is also really going to help cue your hips back in this hip hinge position, which is what we're looking for. We're going to end up loading this up 2 dumbbells in the next 2 rounds and getting into some higher training volume. Okay, as always, active to the floor. Never drop a weight and never loosely just go to the ground. Hang clean, but we're going to do a high pull, the first part of the clean with the left arm. This round, we're going to get into cleans rounds 3, 4, and 5, which is going to be awesome. So here we go, high pull from the hang position. So we're hanging, just a strict pull to chest height and lower in control. Up to chest height, lower in control. You really don't need to get that elbow above the shoulder. That puts us at risk for shoulder impingement. That's really not a sustainable training strategy. All you need to do to get out of this lift is to get this dumbbell here, chest height, elbow in line with the shoulder or below, lower, and we're gonna slowly to the floor. Now we're gonna go deadlift pattern. I'm gonna pick up my weight. The deadlift, ideally, we're going to have some load, some real weight in the house. So if you want to put a laundry basket, fill it full of books, fill it full of every dumbbell you got in the house, cans of soup, books, whatever you got to do, get some load. So now I'm going to hinge through the hips, keeping my chest up, nice and tall, and I'm going to pick this dumbbell up, okay, and then I'm going to lower it in control, tap, and go. Okay, so now we're adding a little bit of weight, and in round 2, chest up. And then what I'm going to do here, deadlifts is a little bit of a boring pattern, but it really shines when we load it up. So now, once I get warmed up with this weight for 2 rounds, I'm going to load it up even further, get a little bit heavier for rounds 4 and 5, and just try and increase my total weight here. Lowered there. Now we're going left arm, and we're going to go with a hang high pull. Okay, so this is the first part of a clean, is to get that pull from the floor, and then we add the snap and the curl, which is coming in the next variation. So here we go, lower, nice hinge pattern, hang, or from the floor, sorry, and pull. Okay, all the way from the floor, we got that deadlift position, pull. Down to the floor, pull. Down to the floor, all in control here. Okay, We're trying to get the fundamentals down. This is a fundamentals of fitness program. The pull pattern is fundamental, and we're combining that with the hinge, which really is a lower body pull. We're going to speak technically. And this is about to get a whole lot more metabolic in rounds 3 and 4. I'm warming up already. This is getting good. And we're on a minute rest. So our bent over row variation for round 3. We're going to go 2 dumbbells, full row. Round 4, we're going 2 dumbbells, heavier weight. So I'm going to go for my 25s round 3, my 50s round 4, and then in round 5, I'm going to do a hold. So I'm going to hold the top position and then rep those out. So I'm going to increase the time under tension, which increases training volume and intensity. Always catching my breath in my rest intervals. You want to try and drop the heart rate before you spike it again in your workout. So here we go, bent over rows. I'm going with my 2 25-pound dumbbells. As always, nice hinge through the hips. Come to that flat back position. I'm going to pull these like I'm putting them in my pockets. Elbows don't need to come above the shoulders. We don't need to row to here. That's not necessary. A nice squeeze, elbows to the sides, lower and control. Keep that chin up. One of the big temptations anytime you're in a hinge position is you want to look at what's happening here. Now look where my spine is. Tuck that chin, get the head in line with the spine, find a nice neutral position, lock it in. Squeeze at the top. Lower and control. Now, as always, if you've got to back up to a previous variation, go right ahead. Just do what's accessible for you. Going to a hip hinge variation, I'm going to pick those 2 dumbbells up, and I'm going to hold them in that good morning position. Okay? So hinge here. We just did 1 dumbbell front loaded. Now we're going 2 dumbbells front loaded. Okay, so now we've got the pull in the biceps. Okay, so it's an isometric curl. We're keeping these weights locked in here. Coming back through the hips to the hip hinge position. Head in line with the spine. More load. And more of a challenge here. Now we're getting those smaller muscle groups involved. And lower in control as always. Okay, now we're going to be doing alternating hang cleans. Okay, so I'm going to take my pair of dumbbells and I'm going to do the entire clean position with one arm, lower, repeat with the other arm. Okay, so here we go. Grab our dumbbells, hang position. Now we're going to do a clean. So the clean is a high pull, and then we're going to snap that weight into front rack. So here, boom, clean, lower and control, opposite arm, clean, lower and control. Okay, clean, lower and control, clean, lower and control. So it's a pull. We just did this part. Now all we're doing is at the top, we're snapping that dumbbell over. Nice pulling pattern, lots of shoulder. Make sure you get a little bit of a soft bend in those knees to stay nice and active here. And lower and control. Okay, deadlift position. I'm going to do 1 more round with my lighter load, and then I'm going to load up for the last 2 rounds with a heavier load, 2 dumbbell version. Okay, catch my breath, and here we go. Back in the hips, down through the knees, chest stays nice and upright. Push through your whole foot. You want to feel the entire foot on the floor, all 5 toes, the heel, the balls of your feet. Keep the knees out and the chest up. Spinal alignment the entire time. Tap and go. Down to the floor. You need lots of load for this. And if you don't have lots of load, lower or slowly lower the weight and then pull with more intensity. So you're just going to increase time under tension with the eccentric lowering phase. Break time there. It's getting spicy. Now we're going alternating floor cleans. I'm only going to use one dumbbell for this version or this exercise, and I'm just going to switch because we're going to the floor now, okay? So it's just increasing the range of motion, putting everything together. From the floor, I'm going to pull and clean. Lower it down, nice deadlift position. Lower and clean. Down, clean. Lower and control. So now we're getting more metabolic, whole body, up and down. What we're gonna do is increase the weight next round, and then I'm gonna increase the speed and go all out in round 5 to cap off. One more rep. And that's the end of round 3. Good work. I'm gonna set these aside, and I'm gonna set this aside, and this will be my load for the next 2 rounds, okay? So I'm increasing intensity by increasing weight, okay? If you can't increase intensity because you don't have more weight at home, that's fine. Increase your time under tension. So take your time in the lowering phase of each exercise, or if it's too hard, just go back to any of the previous variations that we've already done, okay? Lots of options there. Grab some water real quick. We got about 15 seconds before round 4. Now it's championship time. This was an MMA fight. Rounds 4 and 5 are championship rounds. This is where you earn it and push everything to the limit. Here we go. Bent over row. Lock in that position. Squeeze up to the top. Lower and control. Squeeze. Lower and control. And I'm just going to rep this out for my 40 seconds. Really watch your spinal position. Don't get tempted. Don't get tempted to look. You don't need to see. Lock in that chin, spinal positioning. All about form. If your new weight causes you to falter in form, you got to go back to a previous variation or a previous load, lower. Wow, it's a totally different ball game. Totally different ball game. Okay, hip hinge variation. I'm going to go side loaded with more weight. Okay, so I just did front loaded here. Now I'm going to pick these up, and I'm just going to do that same hip hinge position down there and lower. Raise here, down, and pull through. Hip hinge mechanics all still apply. Hips come back, back, back. Shut that cardio with your bum. Pull through the hips. All right. Lower and control. Okay. Alternating hang cleans. I'm going to go with the 50s. It's going to be challenging, but we've earned the right to do this because we've really prepped this movement. We've slow cooked the abilities here to get to that beautiful goodness where we're at right now. Hang position, pop. Lower, I'm going to switch dumbbell, switch hands, and pull this through. Now, if this is too difficult, just go back to last round's variation. So you're dropping your weight. We're just getting that good snap. So it's a high pull, and then snap that dumbbell over, keeping that core down nice, ribs down, abs crunch. Nice clean position. If you're still back at the high pull here, that's totally fine. Last rep. Lower and control. Whew. Wow, you've earned this. You've earned the right to push yourself because you've built up to rounds 4 and rounds 5 especially. Okay, here we go, deadlift position. I'm going 2 dumbbells here, so a little bit more of a narrow stance. Down, chest stays up. All the same things apply. Down and up, okay? Down to that shin height, chest stays up, push through the hips, okay? Hip hinge, shin stay vertical. Lower and control. All right, and we got to cap this off with floor cleans. Cleaning this weight from the floor, so now we put it all together. The hang clean, the deadlift, the hip hinge, putting it all together. And then we got round 5. So here we go from the floor, alternating hang cleans. Hip hinge position, this is your deadlift. Snap that up, lower and control, repeat. And I'm just gonna take my time this round. Next round, I'm gonna give everything I've got left in the tank, and I'm gonna increase my speed on this movement. You've really worked up all the components in this full body pulling, hinging pattern. And then we get to push it as a nice little reward at the end of round 5. Pull and time. Okay, calm it down. 1 minute. Calm it down. Catch your breath. Heart rate spiked. It's a little bit more of like a traditional weightlifting style workout. But again, we're working on fundamentals. If you want to earn the right to do crazy Instagram things, you got to earn the right by doing these simple things. The fundamentals, work on the basics. Nobody got to be a pro by jumping right to the best, right? Start with a foundation, and then you can start to build some walls and put a roof on this thing. So my bent over row, final round. I've got my higher load. I'm gonna add a 5-second hold. I'm gonna add an isometric in here, okay? Hip hinge, get into that row position. Row, I'm gonna hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lower. Lift, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lower. Time under tension, baby. This is where we earn it. Make light loads go a long way here. You don't need a barbell with 300 pounds on it. You need whatever you've got at home and a good attitude. Up and hold 5 seconds. One more here. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Lower. Shake it out. Go into a hip hinge position. And we're just going to go with the same version as last round. We're going to go side loaded, hip hinging. This is more about building up endurance than it is about movement variation. We just want to own this hip hinge. Lower, raise, get set, lower, tabletop, flat back position. Hips come back, 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 back. Active shoulders. Keep those shoulders packed down and back. Don't let them sag forward here, okay? Keep those shoulders packed. Even if you've got more weight than you used to, than you had before, pack those shoulders. Own this. One more rep here. And lower. All right. Alternating hang cleans. We're just going to pick this up a little bit, okay? So I'm going to hold both dumbbells this whole round, and I'm going to start snapping, get as many reps in, 40 seconds as I can here. So always deadlift down to get your weights. Don't cheat. And now I'm going to clean, lower, clean, lower. No transfer time. Those shoulders are getting tired, fatigued, and I'm just gonna keep working. Try and get through this. I know I got you guys with me. Earning these push-pull patterns or these pull-hinge patterns, lower in control. Woo! It's getting really good here, really good. We have two more moves. You can do it. The deadlift and the hang floor clean coming at you. Perfect form. Deadlift is the most important exercise to just own it. Own the movement. Here we go. Hips back, chest up, shins vertical. Push through the hips. Okay, down to shin height. Come up and through. Shin height. Keep those shoulders down and back. One more rep. Squeeze it out. And lower. Woo! One more. Now we're going spicy. Spicy. Pick up the speed a little bit. Hang floor clean. This is your last move. This is everything you've got in the tank. Everything you've got. Max effort here. But with good form, as always. So here we go. 40 seconds. Snap. Lower. Switch. Pick up the pace. Decrease that transfer time. Snap that weight. Boom. Nice, clean. Deadlift. Clean. We can do it, guys. 20 seconds. Keep pumping them out. Fast. Get that heart rate spike. We're almost done. 10 seconds. Get 2 more reps in. One more. Time. Woo! Good work. We just need to do a little recovery breathing now. Tone it down. Very, very high threshold. Very, very high threshold workout. Just get into a seated position, whatever's comfortable. We're going to start here, but we're going to go down onto our back shortly after. Slow it down. Heart is very high right now. Heart rate's very high. I want to get this cooled down, reset. I still have a lot of day left, and I want to be present in every moment. So you got to get reset and ready. Cool down is just as important as a warm-up, really. If you rush from now to dinner or to a meeting, you've really cheated yourself in being in your best state of mind as you could be if you just take the chance to reset the system neurologically. So I love the dead bug position. It's one of the best recovery positions you can spend time in. So I'm going to get in the dead bug. So we're right here. We've already done this several times. And I'm just going to spend a little bit of time here. As always, box breath style. So in through the nose 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Out through the mouth for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. In through the nose. All right. Now what I'm going to do is roll on over, and I'm going to get into a little bit of a bear position, but I'm going to actually stretch myself out a little bit and round my spine a little bit. Okay? So here's bear position. Take about one step back with your knees, one step forward with your hands. Okay? Tuck your toes, and then just gently round your low back. Just gently. And now what you're going to do here is just breathe into your spine. So breathe all your air into your back, and then breathe out. All your air down into your belly. Couple breaths here. You just want a gentle rounding of your low back. You don't want to be super arched. It's a nice gentle rounding. Cooling everything down. Recovery doesn't have to be stretching or mobility drills. Really, your body's not in a state to really accept any of those things or to really get a lot of benefit from that because of how high threshold you are, where you're at with your neurological state. What you really need to do is just tone it down. Get reset. Get your breathing under you. Get your heart rate under control. Get back to your day. Thanks for working out with me. That's number 3. Okay, so now we have a couple of days of rest. Maybe throw an active recovery mobility workout in there. We'll be back at it next week for workout number 4. Don't jump the gun on that. Take your time. Let's recover properly and then get a new training week started when we're ready.